Nice to meet you. Uh,
Hi, Thomas. Nice to meet you too.
uh, can you tell us something more about yourself, about your experience with pharmacy, with antidepressants? What's your story?
Yes, so I practiced as a pharmacist for between 2015 up until around 2021. And I worked in different various backgrounds in pharmacy. I was working within the community sector, also within hospital. But in the last few years before I left pharmacy, I was working in addiction and mental health. But within that, I was going through my own journey of dealing with depression and addiction as well. Um, So I was trying to navigate my own issues by working while working in these environments. But when I was in the addiction and mental health sector, I noticed that people were genuinely weren't getting the help that they really needed. So it inhibited me wanting to go to the doctor, or I didn't feel confident that the doctor was able to help what I needed help with. Um, so I just explored my own journey through breathwork, meditation, body work, a lot of different other modalities to help me deal with my own struggles with depression and addiction. And through that, I really broadened my consciousness or my my view on medication. Um, and 3.5 years ago, I left pharmacy. I went and trained in a lot of different modalities to help people going through similar things that I went through, but to also really focus on helping people come off antidepressants as they're overly prescribed and people are left on them for far too long, and to help them really deal with the withdrawal symptoms that people aren't told about or educated about when they're started on antidepressants. Yeah.
Okay, and what's your story with antidepressants? How did you feel on them? Why did you take them? And
So, yeah, the first time I had antidepressants was actually back in university. There was a lot of assignments. There was just so much pressure building up that I went to the doctor actually because I actually was urinating quite a lot. I thought there was something wrong with my bladder. I actually thought I might have had an infection,
Mhm.
and the doctor actually gave me antidepressants. And they were like, "Oh, this is due to anxiety. This is why you're not sleeping. You're going to the toilet quite a bit." And I was a bit confused by it, but I trusted the doctor, and I was put on sertraline, and I didn't last more than 4 weeks on the medication because the side effects were quite horrendous for me. A lot of my sexual function totally went. I felt really sort of out of my mind a little bit. It was a bit as if I was on drugs type of a sensation. And so I didn't go back to get the repeat prescription. I was just like, I don't think this was working for me. This is a bit strange. Plus, I also went to the doctor because of urination. I thought there was something wrong with my bladder, and I was given a medication for something else. But then a few years down the line, a few years had passed, and there was something. Yeah, I just was still feeling quite strange, odd. I couldn't tell you what it was at that time. But I started on fluoxetine, and
so you quit sertraline
yeah,
because of the side effects, and
yeah.
you have been switched to fluoxetine.
Yeah, well, this was a few years down the line. I went back to the doctor again, and then I was started on fluoxetine, and again, I couldn't. I lasted even shorter this time. It was maybe a week. I really thought I was losing my mind. It was horrendous. Like my eyeballs were bulging out of my head. I actually felt like I was not in my body at all, and this was something that actually was quite petrifying for me. Like, um, I felt, as you mentioned before, like quite manic, like that, and that was only after a few days of being on the medication. So I had to stop that as well, and from that, that was what I it highlighted to me, like this antidepressants, like they're given to well, from working in pharmacy, they're given to a lot of people, and a lot of people are putting that trust into the doctor that this is going to help them, but there's not much education around the side effects and how you're going to feel, or even the withdrawal or tapering off antidepressants. But yeah, that's my only two experiences with antidepressants. But I have explored other things like 5-HTP, 5-HTP, and again, that didn't really. that didn't.
So you haven't been informed by the doctor about potential risk and side effects and long-lasting issues?
No. Anytime I go to the doctor over the past few years and explain what is emotionally or physically going on with me, a lot of the time antidepressants are mentioned. I was like, do you want to start this? And it's a no for me, because the two experiences I had while being on the medications in such a short period of time did left me feeling a lot worse than what I actually was, but through those years, like, I've navigated my own way through the depression, through really trying to connect more to my body and be a lot more grounded in myself.
Yeah. So you can you tell us something more about your approach for the, let's say, holistic healing, and how you're dealing with specific symptoms when you have like depression or another
Mhm.
mood disorders?
Yeah. So, say a client, when I start working with a client and they're wanting to taper off antidepressants, I always say that we have to work with each other for at least 3 months. Um, and in those 3 months, I don't guarantee people that I can help them be fully off the medication. But if we're going in the right direction of, there's a maybe 50% of a reduction, or maybe 75% in those 3 months, that's like, we're going in the right direction. But in those 3 months, I work with them one-to-one, face-to-face, and we explore a lot of things like breath work, meditation, hypnosis, body work. So like, I've trained in a lot of various different styles of body work, including like somatic release, some forms of Chinese medicine, like acupressure points, to help move the energy or the blockages or the emotions that people have been like suppressing, trying to work these through the body, and let them know that it's okay to feel these emotions. And I'm well aware that when people are reducing off the antidepressants, that a lot of emotions can come back to the surface that have been suppressed for so long. So that's what I try to empower people, that they take ownership of their own being, their sovereignty, and their own emotions. And hopefully within those 3 months, people have learned tools that they can use for themselves to move forward. But again, I'm always there on call for people if they need more guidance, or if they want to go work longer with me. Like, I'm still available after the 3 months. I don't just close the door on people. I've also created like a journal, and the journal is very important too for people to help track their withdrawal symptoms. And there's daily prompts within the journal to like be aware of triggers, be aware of their anxiety and depression. And at each month, at the end of each month, in the journal, people then can do a review of the month and see what days their anxiety or depression was higher, and they can see then, okay, well, I was triggered on those days the most because of different various things. It can be.
I think like tracking down your symptoms in a journal is very important when you are in the especially in the protracted withdrawal, to see how you progress, and where you can implement
Yes.
changes if you have like rebound anxiety or other symptoms popping up.
Mhm.
So I think it's really crucial for patients
Yeah.
with protracted withdrawal to track down
Yeah,
symptoms.
if someone's able to notice that I'm always getting the withdrawal, say, of insomnia, like, and that's something that's just keeps coming up, it's like, then they can maybe say that to me, or and there's something I can maybe recommend, like maybe doing some form of breath work, or drink a particular type of tea, because I like to explore different little things, like chamomile tea or blue lotus tea, these little things which are so easily available to people, but they can help really regulate your nervous system and help you even just sleep better, or I don't know, just make you feel a lot calmer. There's so many little. They might not seem that important, but these little things can really really help people.
Sometimes you're so overwhelmed with all the symptoms that you need to write
Mm,
it down to
mm,
know on which one you want to focus. Like you mentioned, the
mm.
sleep is crucial for the
Yeah.
healing process. So
Mm,
addressing these issues and have it on the paper, it's way easier than to just being confused in all this. Oh, sorry, my camera.
Yeah, or even like things like then you explore like sleep hygiene. How long are you on your phone for? What time do you go to bed?
Yeah.
Is there any noise or is it dark? Like, do you know these things? So, or even if it's say that the withdrawal symptom was maybe anxiety. Do you know what is causing anxiety? What times does this come at? You know, these are things that I would sit and have conversations.
Does my anxiety subside after a specific meal or specific time after physical activity? It's all it's all related. Like,
and that's why, or is it a particular person that's causing the anxiety, or is it work? Do you know? So this is why I think it's good with the journal that you can go through the pages and be like, okay, like I see anxiety is coming up all the time, but when is the anxiety happening? If anxiety is happening when my manager in work is being an asshole, there's so many ways, and then it might help.
And then we can come up to conclusion. Well, maybe I should change it up, or maybe I should, And that's how we resolve like the root cause of an issue.
That's the thing. It's getting to the root cause and allowing the individual or the client to get there themselves. Also, like I'm just there as the guide and like maybe like guiding in the one direction or this direction. You know, for them to realize this themselves, because I have been there. Like I have been there myself, and a lot of the time, like the depression that I experienced was to do with the environment that I was in. It was not
trauma response.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not a condition. It's not a disease to be treated. It's just basically trauma response from environment, toxic environment.
Yeah. And the only thing to do then is to remove yourself from the environment.
Yes, and not to intoxicate yourself with meds or drugs. Like, it's irony, right? But we've all been there, and
Yeah. But the journal is great for individuals to follow the journal. And within the journal, there is the somatic exercises also I feel that a lot of people go down the route of medication because they're not connected to their body, or they're too frightened to connect to their body, because the body is what's holding these memories or these emotions or these energies. But once you meet these energies, and instead of resisting them, like, and just go with the flow, like everything will ease. But it's trusting that can be quite difficult for people.
In the healing process, it's very important to reconnect with your body, like to get rid of this autonomic dysregulation state and do your best to feel your whole body again, to feel like yourself again. And this is like this holistic approach is the only way, because like treating this with another drug is simply pointless, very risky. So I do respect your approach.
Yeah, how's your approach to protracted withdrawal?
Yeah, in my case, I mostly focus on brain-derived neurotropic factor, neurogenesis, and ketosis to stimulate autophagy and regulate microbiome. Because it basically worked in my case. I focused on let's say healthy lifestyle, which led me to recovery from protracted withdrawal, and addressing those factors like microbiome, drastic diet changes, physical activity that stimulate brain-derived neurotropic, which helps your body to recover from this iatrogenic injury was very crucial in my case. Also, some supplements that are involved, like magnesium, that can calm your nervous system. But I vote for a natural approach in protracted withdrawal. And but your approach, like with this meditation and acupuncture, is also very interesting, because I do feel if we stimulate our nerves, like with this approach, it can also be beneficial. Do you have like any experience with this? Like how did it help you?
Pardon, what was that? Sorry.
How did acupuncture help you with?
Yes. So like the forms of body work. There was multiple different things I explored. For me, I hold a lot of physical trauma in my body. I've had I had like a quite a bad scalding accident when I was a baby. So I have a lot of scarring up around my hip area and down my legs. Um, and as I got older, I started to notice a lot of physical pain in my body. And I could never piece together why is my body sore, but it was obviously to do with the trauma or the tension that I'm holding in these parts of my body. It just can't hold it anymore. So I then started to explore different forms of like the body work and the acupressure, acupuncture, and what it helped was open up these energy channels in my body, for things to flow a lot better. I've had quite huge emotional releases through body work, like releases that I didn't think possible. And once every, and I, as I still explored for my own personal healing, it's still a journey for me, I find that I'm becoming deeper. I'm able to go deeper and deeper within my own being, and I feel a lot more connected and centered. But it's helped me massively because if you think about your body, if you're holding these areas of tension or pain or trauma, these are patterns that are actually going to disrupt like your thinking or maybe keep you into these limited beliefs or just negative thought patterns. So working through the physical tension in the body can really have huge impacts on your mind. And like I'll give you an example. A few weeks ago, a lot of fear just came up in me, and it was fear about my journey and the direction I wanted to go with work. But I was booked in for like a bodywork session like later that week, and during that bodywork session, just something quite big just released from my body, and it came out like quite physical, like a lot of physical shaking, quite visceral. So my body shook for quite a while, and just after that, it was like I just shook the fear out, and it was like I had a lot of clarity, a lot of confidence of the direction that I want to go with my work, and it was quite mind blowing for me, even though I've had quite mind blowing experiences over the past few years. So it was like this stuff really does work. It's not.
You mentioned very important aspect about the tension, like in the body, because mm, especially in protracted withdrawal, like the serotonin system is responsible for the muscle tension as well, and people do seem to be very tense, especially like when they have, for instance, PSSD, they have very tension in the pelvic floor area. So I also recommend my clients to go to, for instance, yoga classes, but maybe acupuncture you mentioned could be also beneficial. I do think it's like it can have some feedback for the nervous system to be relaxed. If your whole body is relaxed, then it's like, endless, like a positive feedback for your nervous system to be in that relaxed state. So
Yeah, even another thing that's quite a thing is like for people's shoulders. If you like, a lot of people are walking around with their shoulders up to their ears, and it's like, and they don't even realize that it's like all the tension. But when you get like a deep massage to help release and relax your shoulders, you're going to relax everything else, and you're actually going to be a lot more open to
your
the world.
different posture and your different feedback, that you are more open, more relaxed, more confident. Yeah.
Because if you fix your posture, like if you're bent over, hunched over, shoulders up, you're literally closing your heart
Your
to
chest,
possibilities, to everything. So once your posture's fixed and you're standing upright, you're like, okay, I'm taking my space, I'm confident, I'm open to give and receive, and like it does sound more like woo woo and spiritual and stuff, but it is all the same. It's the same as the science part of it and the woo-woo-ness of it, like that you need to be more open to all the possibilities and not like close yourself off.
Yeah, the way you walk shows the way you feel, like, and on the other way around. If you exercise, if you improve your posture, strengthen your muscles, then you will think about yourself in a different way.
In a different way.
I'm confident, I'm relaxed.
Yeah, it's all to do with the nervous system. Like if you're closed over, like you're in a really like shut down dorsal state. And when you're a bit more open and open to the world and whatever, like you're in that more ventral state, your nervous system's a lot more relaxed and able to function.
Yeah. I believe you need to work both way on the nervous system and the peripheral nervous system as well, all the
Yeah.
muscles. So yeah, so I guess we vote for a holistic approach for the
Yeah, like the holistic approach is not disregarding medication or anything. Holistic means looking at the bigger picture, looking at everything here.
Yeah.
Medication is there for when it's needed, and it should be there only for a short period of time.
That's how those drugs were designed when they hit the market, like not to take them longer for up to 8 weeks. Lifetimers on those drugs. So
like where I live in Northern Ireland here, it's suffered a lot of trauma like over the years, and some of my clients have been left on antidepressants for 27, 30 years, and I asked them, when was the last time you were reviewed by the doctor? Never. It's never been reviewed. And I asked, why are you on this medication? I don't know.
Yeah.
And it's
the way it is, right? Like chemical imbalance.
Like the chemical imbalance, I asked my clients, like, well, when did they ever do a blood test to check for this chemical imbalance? This is based on an assumption.
It's a marketing scam.
Yeah.
Those drugs cause chemical imbalance because they do interfere with the most fragile system, which is serotonin system.
Yeah.
So,
but if it's going to work, if it works for people and it's only for a short period of time, then yes, you've got your confidence back to go and then assess things yourself in a more of a natural way.
It's funny because when antidepressants showed up on the market, they were competing with psychedelics, like in the 70s, and they won. Like psychedelics lost the battle with antidepressants, and that's why they have been prohibited in the history. But they right now they came back. We have this MAPS, Multidisciplinary Association for Psychedelic Science, and they administer psilocybin or LSD, but it's a different story, I believe.
Yeah, that could be for another podcast.
It can be, but I do believe like staying sober and dealing with your problems when you are sober is the most challenging experience, but on the other hand, the most beneficial, because if you cover it up with some drugs, either it's psychedelics or antidepressants, it won't resolve because you only get this temporary relief from your suffering.
Yeah, like you still have to live in your reality day to day. You can't be under the influence of anything, really. It's about dealing with it here and now and being really present with yourself, and honoring how you're feeling. If you feel angry, let yourself be angry. If you feel sad, cry. It's we're humans. We all feel these emotions. Like I still at times cry, or there's times where I'm like, I'm just not feeling today. Like I'm actually gonna maybe just sit in front of the TV and relax and do nothing, or maybe take myself out to nature. It's like I give myself them options. I didn't want to be standing in a chemist, a pharmacy, handing out drugs all the time. I want to be more free. So that's what I want people to be able to live the way that I live now. At the same time, like be more open to the possibilities. Go out in nature. Go to the beach. Go whenever you feel like you want to.
It's like if you feel anxious about something in your life, then you need to apply some changes. Like you don't need to pop a pill to ease your anxiety, to be dependent on like benzodiazepines or but you need to resolve the root cause of this issue you're dealing with. And I know it can be very challenging, but there is no another way. Like the approach with meds, it always end up in the same way, that in the end you need to quit those meds and you have to face with the withdrawals. So it's like,
and a lot of the time I find when I've worked with my clients, a lot of it is based down to fear, but it's a fear that they don't feel safe in their bodies. It's like it's a lack of safety. And sometimes we seek outwards, like go to the doctor or we
Yeah.
go to a psychiatrist
To trust in
to
authority.
try and fix this unsafety, but it's like it's internal. Like just try and work on the safety inside.
Yeah, not to seek external help, because
Yeah, yeah.
they don't care. They just, they want, okay, they will prescribe you a drug that will take the edge off, but in the long run, it's always the same.
Mhm.
To trust,
Yeah.
I do believe that people need to trust more in themselves than in like external factors. Like, we do need medicine, but
Mm.
psychiatry is a little bit different than other like specializations. Like,
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. It's all based on an assumption,
yeah,
and like maybe a few little surveys of like tick boxes of okay, this person has this symptom, this that, and yeah, that's to me, I wouldn't be able to trust that.
yeah, if you go to a cardiologist and you have a hole in
Yeah,
your heart,
like,
you need some evidence, like
yes, yeah,
USG. And with psychiatry, you have go like, okay, you
yeah,
might feel low. Okay, you feel low. Take
mm,
those drugs and it will
yeah.
go away. Oh, it's a, and there are people who still do believe in this chemical imbalance and all this stuff, and it's like that it's changing, but it will take another, I don't know, 20 years for people to wake
But
up from
this
this.
is that's good though that there's people like myself and yourself who are implementing these like steps, and like we're not that we are saying all drugs are bad or you shouldn't be on that. There's people who really genuinely want to come off antidepressants or
Yeah,
benzos or antipsychotics, and there's not the help there for them. They're left on these medications lifelong, and we are only providing guidance for these individuals because their psychiatrists or their GP, they don't have the capacity to help. So a
that,
lot of these health professionals are so busy or they don't have the skills to do it. So we're doing it through lived experience, and we're also expanding our own toolkit or our skills through different ways to help other people. But like what we're doing is just we're planting the seeds because this will be really needed in the next
yes.
few years, and then maybe 20 years down the line, it's like there's going to be something very solid in place with really good
Just to,
research, guidance, you know.
just to show people on the mess that there is another way,
Yeah, there's other ways. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
that
And
you can
even
live drugs free and you can regain your emotions, sexuality, cognition.
mhm. And even these things could be really beneficial for individuals who are on who are thinking that they need to go to the doctor to start medication. Like some of the services that I provide, you provide, could help people actually from taking that route that you've
To
made up in there.
avoid, yeah,
Yeah.
being
Mm,
prescribed drugs, that if
yeah.
they take care of their own life, like basically resolving the root cause of their low
Yeah.
mood or anxiety, that they will avoid taking drugs. But it's like people looking for quick solutions, like a quick
Yeah.
pop a
Yeah.
pill and feel better. And
For a
I would,
short period of time.
yeah, I was convinced when I was on my psychiatry classes. I was told about this chemical imbalance, and I was okay. Since I'm an anxious guy, I'm gonna go for it and see how
Mhm.
it works. And well, 10 years later, yeah.
Yeah.
So but I feel sorry for all the people that are going through this either withdrawal or just still on the meds and trying to quit, and they don't have proper support, and then they like drug addicts they have their own rehab centers, but with
Mhm.
people on antidepressants or antipsychotics there are no rehabilitation center, because the drugs are considered they are called
Yeah.
medications.
Yeah. Yeah.
Safe
We both did that at
medications.
the same
But
time.
they are basically like street drugs,
Yeah.
but in the form of the pills and being prescribed by the guy in the coat. And
The legal drug dealer.
yeah, 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 yeah. The same applies to medical weed, medical marijuana. Right here in
Mhm.
Poland, we have this medical weed, and this is the same weed from the streets, but with the different maybe concentration of THC, the even higher concentration of THC,
Mm.
and there are only like maybe a small amount of people who are in need because they suffer with cancer or with other long, difficult conditions. But most of those people are simply drug addicts.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I still believe that weed is way safer than antidepressants, but it's still a drug, and we need to be aware that this is not a treatment. They don't treat any condition. It doesn't treat any condition.
Yeah, it seems sort of like what my point of view on things that sort of say, let's say plant medicines like psilocybin or marijuana. But when the pharmaceutical companies are starting then, okay, let's work on these, let's do trials, let's get this out to the public.
Ghostwritten articles, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think that these things are going to be as beneficial to people because it's coming from something like a huge multinational like pharma company that's already makes billions, and it's just profitizing on these plants. Yeah. And this is like the spiritual part of me now. I believe these plants do have an energy, and when something is going to manipulate the energy of these people for their own being or for their own
profit,
profit. I don't think that they're going to work as well. There's going to be like it's. Yeah,
it's gonna be abuse.
It's another form of abuse. So I think that you could be putting the users at risk, like say the patients, while they're doing this, because it's not coming from like a really heartfelt place. It's coming from a place of pure greed from these companies.
Of course.
Yeah, so that's where I like. Yes, I would love like marijuana, psilocybin and other plant medicines to be available, but through say people who have, let's say like a shaman or someone who's really
in need and with specific, but not like this that you can just buy with an online prescription like
like when it comes down to this root of something clinical, I think that's where it's not going to work, and that's something I really strongly feel inside. But there should be sort of retreat centers around the countries where people work with these medicines. And yes, there's a lot of education around the risks and the benefits of working with such medicines, because again, these are only tools. These aren't cures. Yeah. So, but it's like people should still have that option of like, that's the route. I want to go down the plant medicine route, or I want to go down the route of pharmaceuticals. Like we should have that choice.
And the same applies to psychiatric medications, because when, as I said, like they were meant to be prescribed no longer than 8 months, and now they became too greedy, and now they're like left, and they that's why they have long-lasting consequences.
And it's like how you notice, like, so SSRIs, they're marketed towards like depression, but now you see
like tons of other conditions.
Oh my god, yeah. That's what I was going to say. For now, it's for pain, it's for menopause, it's for so many different things, and you're like, okay,
chronic pain, whatever.
This is the only reason why they're getting use for these other symptoms is because it's literally numbing people out from feeling.
Yeah, and it's and when we can off-label them, it's more profitable for the company. That we can prescribe it for chronic pain, for instance. So it's not a like pharmacy story. It's a branding story. It's a market.
Mm-hmm. It's like at times I feel that this is like a really tough battle that I'm not gonna win, because you're going against something pretty huge. But at the same time, I see so many people like sort of losing trust and faith in the health system, or they've been let down so much. So it's like, okay, like people do need other avenues of, and I do see there is a lot of hope at the same time. But again, I go in and out of these phases of like there needs to be more help. I actually help for me and help for yourself to provide our services, because we're doing this all on our own. It's I don't have a team of people helping me. Like I'm trying to change the words on my own.
It's a very difficult battle, I spoke about it with Rob Whittaker, and he also told me that it's like difficult to overcome this something that has been happening for so many years and has so much budget for advertising. And in US they still show the advertise of Zoloft and all other drugs on TV, so it's like
it's insane.
But it's it's on the other hand, it's good that we're doing what we're doing, and maybe
like I said, we're just planting the seeds, and these seeds are going to grow and germinate, and
spreading awareness is the only way to go, because otherwise, how can we we can? There are a few psychiatrists who are on the other side, and they're in the prescribing model, like Joseph Willdering. And the revolution is starting slowly happening. Like we have this PSSD network, we have we have Mark Horowitz. So
the deprescribing guidelines, the Mosley deprescribing guidelines. Like I thought that was pretty huge for those to be published, which I use quite a bit also. This one book, I'm about to read it. So. Paul, it was nice having you here. Thank you for my podcast. Really nice to finally get to chat to you.
Finally after few
4 months.
4 months, eventually we met here online, and
But thank you so much for having me on here with you today.